Welcome to a late night movie night. I thought, you know what? I'm up. Why not hang out a little bit, see how you're doing? And if there's anyone up late, this might be a great opportunity to watch what I guess some might call a classic film. It's definitely notable for certain things, but I think mostly from Wikipedia, maybe some of it's folklore, I don't know. But thanks for joining in. Tonight we're going to be watching The Great Train Robbery. This is Edison Film Production, copyright 1903. And while we're just hanging out, I thought I'd jump over and let me just read you the Wikipedia write-up about it a little bit. So let's check it out. Here we go. The Great Train Robbery, 1903 film. The Great Train Robbery was a 1903 American silent western film made by Edwin S. Porter for the Edison Manufacturing Company. It follows a gang of outlaws who hold up and rob a steam locomotive at a station, American West. I don't want to give too much away. Spoiler alert. Hey Eric, hey, thanks for joining in, Mothman. I'm reading through right now the Wikipedia write-up. This is a little about The Great Train Robbery. This is just about a 15-minute film, short film, silent. Be really good. Basically, jumping ahead here, there's a couple key features. Porter produced and photographed the film in New York and New Jersey in November 1903. The Edison studio began selling it to vaudeville houses and other venues in the following months, and the cast included Justice Barnes, G.M. Anderson, who may have also helped with the planning. Porter's storytelling approach, though not particularly innovative or unusual for 1903, allowed him to include many popular techniques for the time, including scenes staged in wide shots, matte effect, in the attempt to indicate simultaneous action across multiple scenes. Camera pans, location shooting, and moments of violent action helped give the film a sense of rough-edged immediacy. A special close-up shot, which spoilers. All right, so we're going to get into this film. This is the movie poster that you're looking at right now. I want to jump ahead. I want to read one more thing here. This is the last part here. Due in part to the popular and accessible subject matter, as well as the dynamic action and violence, the film has an unprecedented commercial success. Though it was not significantly influenced or advanced in the Western film genre, it was widely distributed and copied, including a parody by Porter himself. During the 20th century, inaccurate legends about the film developed, claiming that it was the first Western or that it was even the first film to tell a story, which is something I heard actually. But though the film scholars have repeatedly disproved these claims, demonstrating that the film was a stylistic dead end for its maker and the genre. The film's commercial success and mythical place in American film lore remain undisputed. The film, especially the close-up of Barnes, has become an iconic in American culture, appearing in numerous films and television references. As far as I know, this is public domain, so we're going to watch it tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Exactly. I'm going to be playing some audio from a classic piano. You would probably recognize this sound. Let's take a look here. This is, let's see, who is this? This is, well, the piano title will pop up there. This is definitely a recognizable sound. I thought I'd just play it, but this will be the audio track that will run because I just watched a few seconds of the film. It's been years since I've seen the film. I think I looked it up a long time ago, just because of some of that film lore that I heard. I heard that, I think this was one of the films that they talked about where the audience was so shocked at the ending that they actually kind of freaked out. So that's kind of interesting. We'll check that out. But anyways, I guess we'll get started here. I want to show you real quick though. This is the original poster, but what's unique about that is this is the since I guess maybe mid-20s or something, 1920s, maybe they updated the poster, but this is the other poster, or the newer poster I should say, which is kind of cool actually to see that, just to see the difference between those. All right, so now that we're in here, this is gonna be a fun little random late night. So sit back, and the thing is, you're not gonna be able to necessarily put this on another tab and do something else, unfortunately, because it's a silent film. You'll probably have to watch it, but it's only about 14 minutes as far as I can tell. And I might pause it a few times and come back and forth to chit chat about some stuff, or if you guys notice anything that you want to chat about, I think it'll be pretty cool. The unique thing to think about, I think, is 1903. These cameras were huge film cameras. It's a silent film, but the idea that they're on a train, most likely they didn't film this on a train because of just the size of the cameras required to film this in 1903 and just the logistics. So there's probably going to be some special effects, I'm assuming, that we'll see here. But without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to bring up a different audio track for the soundtrack of the movie, just so you know. All right, we got to get it prepped. This is the theater we're going to be watching it in. It's going to be a good time. All right, The Great Train Robbery. Who's ready for some violent action? Some 1903 violent action. Here we go. I think this will work. Oh, there's always going to be some technical there's always going to be a few technical things going on as usual. And I think, oh my goodness, you guys, amateur hour over here. I have everything set up, but I have one little thing that I got to get fixed. Let's see if this is it. Of course. Oh, I know what happened. It's nothing. I thought I did something wrong. I got to do one thing here. It'll kick it into gear.
From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
And I'll play a little music here. Here we go. This should be good. And obviously this isn't the music that was playing during the time, unfortunately. So if you can hear it, I hope it's worthwhile here. All right. Whoa, we get right into the action, guys. What did he pull? What was that? Okay, they're at the train station right now. I get you. I'm slow to this. Yeah, grab some popcorn. This is, like I said earlier, if you're just logging in, this is about a 15-minute film. Oh, we got him. Tied him up good. I was a little problem with the door there. And you'd have to imagine at this time, you know, obviously the movie houses, vaudeville houses, I think they called them, they would have been playing specific music. And that's something that I think is really cool to think. Like, unfortunately, we'll probably never know. I mean, as it got earlier or later in the years, we have documentation of some of the music played, but I'm sure the music would have changed to make up for, the suspense and things like that. They just snuck onto the train. That's how it's done, guys. If you ever want to know how to sneak onto a train, super dangerous. Don't try it at home. Don't try it at home in 1903. That's a good question, Wags. 1903. I wonder what kind of film camera they would have used. You know what? Let's find out. What do you say? We're going to pause it for a moment. We'll come right back to it. Let's take a look to see what kind of film camera they would have used in 1903. Big one. Looks like it's a big one. Oh, wow, okay. I guess it doesn't really help you guys what I'm seeing right now. I'll be honest with you, I am still looking for it. Probably something like that. I'm bringing it in here so you guys can take a look at it. What do you say? What do you say? We're just hanging out tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see here. Let me bring it in and you can tell me what you think of this camera. This obviously would have been the camera, most likely, maybe, who knows. Tonight, this is what we're gonna say it is. This is the camera they probably would have used, something like this. If you've seen movie playing back to those days, that's probably what you would have saw. A couple more people back behind the thing there with the big megaphone, giving out directions. Okay, back to the film. Man, they are... Whoa! They just threw that guy over. Holy smokes. I'm assuming in those days a lot of people knew how to drive trains just because it was such a common way of transportation. You know, it's funny to think back, 1903, this would have been not that far off. This would have been like probably current day, right? Where, I always think of when growing up, I watched movies of the Old West, right? Back then, I don't know, what would they have made? What kind of films would they have made of the old days in 1903, right? Whoa, look at that. They commandeered the whole train. Oh, awesome. Okay, there we go. That's awesome. Thanks, Mothman. They got everybody out of the train. Just going to pause for a moment. The original movie poster, the bear wrestling, this is it was created and published in New York, Strobridge lithograph in Colorado, maybe 1896. Copyright 1896. How does that work out? Wow. How does that work out? This must have been, I get you. The illustration of the guy wrestling the bear is the illustration that was created and published, and then they reused it for this movie poster at some point. That's interesting. See, we're learning all kinds of stuff tonight, guys. Back to the movie. Oh, they shot that guy. Did I just miss that? Holy smokes. He's just laying there. That's good. They're going to help them. That's good. Good Samaritans. Look at all that. They just robbed them. Oh, I see what you have to do back then. You got to disconnect the front car, rob the people, and then that's your getaway. Wow. Train robbers. They're like pirates of railways. Railways. They're moving. I think one of the really cool things to see about these old films is like they did stuff, they invented things that we still use today, like effects, camera angles, perspectives, and things like that. They even innovated some stuff that we no longer do that was really creative. And it's most possibly the situation would have been like a hand cranked camera, not necessarily maybe cranked in 1903. I don't know that history there. Oh look, they already have their horses, but they would have at least had it cranked up to wind up a spring, and then the spring would have went. That's why you always see these old films where their timing's a little bit faster. And I think back then they shot at a lot less of a frame rate. I'm giving you a bunch of mismatched knowledge and information. You'll have to look this up to prove the facts. Wow, so they tied this guy up, snuck on the train. Oh, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna write a letter? Mail it? Get some help? It's really unique to see the acting, because it's silent, so there's like a little bit of overacting they have to do, but it kind of works. Splash some water on him. Oh man, oh, it worked. Are these the robbers just hanging out, living it up? They're just having a good old time, aren't they? Whoa, he's got it. Get it. There's the dance. Look at that. Are they shooting at him? They're shooting at his feet. You see that? They were shooting at his feet. This is how they got down in 1903. So I'm that guy. I'm mixing up the story. I think that's just a party that's going on, and the robbers have it. Oh, I see. This would have probably been more identifiable back then. That I just thought about it. They were all of the sheriffs, probably. I think those are the police officers that were all dancing, having a good old time, and then now they're out chasing after they heard about the robbery. They're chasing them. There's things like that are very identifiable. In 1903, they dressed a certain way, the cops. Do they call them cops back then? That's a good question. I just asked myself. I'll have to Google that later. All right, let's look at the loot. What do we get? I assume they're looking through the money. Uh-oh, you see that? They're catching up on him. Wow, there's a lot after him. Holy smokes. They're surrounded. It's gonna be a straight up shootout. Look at that. One of the guys, two guys down. One guy's left. What's gonna happen? He's down? Boom. Whoa. That's... They got him, boys. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little confused. Are they stealing the money? Boom. There's the shot. This is the classic right here. Whoa. And so
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.
All right, there it is. So that was the film lore, would have been that people in the audience ducked and screamed when that ending scene happened, which would have been pretty unique. So there it is. That's the film. Was that I guess it was a pretty good, maybe that should be the name, a pretty good train robbery. Was it the Great Train Robbery? It looked like a train robbery. I think a great train robbery would be they take the front car and they just drive that thing across the country, back and forth, repaint it, give it a new name, and become train conductors. With the money, they start a new town, right? Instead of going into the woods and counting it for whatever reason. I'm really curious about the sequel to that movie. Did they ever make one, you think? I wonder if they came through and... Because those guys look like they took the money, the ones that killed everyone. It was like, are they robbing the robbers? Interesting. Yeah, that Mothman, that's crazy too. Yeah, I know, like, just some of the historical movies and the things that I've seen where thinking back to those era, you know, I'm a big fan of Laurel and Hardy. I'm way more of a fan of Laurel and Hardy than of the Three Stooges. But the silent film days, that would have been, and obviously like Charlie Chaplin, that would have been a big deal back then when the talkies started coming, the talkie movies. But it would have been fun to watch a movie like that, to hear all those gunshots. I wonder if they would have had like gun sound effects. I'm thinking the piano player would have had something, because that would be considered like a violent film, so there would have been a lot of gunshots, which maybe would have made people really nervous in the audience. Who knows? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I did see that because I was doing some research. That was based off a historical event, and that's something too. You know, I'm not that connected with a lot of historical things. How many train robberies really were there? You know, you think about these movies we see, it would have been a big deal. Like, this would have been a serious. You gotta really know what you're doing. You're just gonna straight up steal a train. So here's what we find out here. The Great Train Robbery was the robbery of 2.6 million from the Royal Mail train heading to Glasgow to London on the West Coast main line in the early hours of August 8th, 1963. Well, I guess if it was in 1963, this movie probably isn't based off of that event, because this movie was made in 1903. So if it is based off of a real event, it would have been a train robbery that would have happened before 1903. So I don't know if we'll have to get more facts on that. But yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out. We're just doing a little movie time. I'm going to switch up the song here. Go back. We got Tom Turpin as playing our music. Very iconic sound. I think it's a little low, but... Yeah, you got it. But anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. And if you've been noticing, I do live streams pretty much every day lately, every other day or so. Pretty late at night, nothing too crazy. A lot of the replays are available. If you're watching this replay, thanks for watching. I don't know how long I'll keep these online, so if you enjoy them, or if you're thinking about watching some of the other ones, you might want to check those out if you got some downtime. I know they run a little long, which is unfortunate for those people. I know even for myself, when I see a video and I'm like, an hour, 50 minutes, what is going on? But I know that they're fun to hang out, chat. Live chat's usually what ends up making those live streams go a little longer, because I'll interact with the comments and stuff like that. But those are also previews of videos I'd like to make, and depending on the interaction and stuff with the people watching the playbacks and stuff, and even the people hanging out live, usually dictates whether or not I'll make a more in-depth video about that, or if there's other things. And the cool thing is, from the few live streams that I've already done, there's been some really cool feedback that it's helped me learn more about what I want to put into the video if I end up coming out with some stuff. But yeah, if you check out those other videos in the last couple days, week or so, and you can see a little bit more of what's going on. But yeah, I was gonna try to bring up a couple movies. I just didn't think I'd want to sit through too many silent films. I'll be honest, I do like the silent films, but they have their length as far as how much. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. And sorry if I can't say your name, Enricop, XXX Enricop. I can't. You can let me know if there's abbreviation, a better way to say it. So here's the situation with this film. Turn this music down just a little bit. Okay, here we go. The Great Gold Robbery. And that's the one unfortunate thing, they didn't do a close-up. I don't know if you guys noticed in the film, I saw a dummy that they threw over, and I noticed that the sets were like paper, but they didn't do any close-ups of the actual money. So you didn't know what they stole. But this is the historical event that this is possibly based off of, as far as we know. The Great Gold Robbery of 1855, where 4 men committed one of the most audacious crimes in the century, stealing, this is euros, so I guess it would be 12,000 euros, close to 1 million euros today, from a London Bridge train bound for Paris. Interesting. You know, it's funny because I think of cowboys, I don't think about what's going on over in where was that, in Paris. I'm thinking of like the Wild West of in a United States of America. Isn't that crazy to think? Yeah, there would have been cowboys all over. There's cows all over, right? There we go, Enrico. Well, thanks for that information. Thanks for see, we get a little bit of facts, and then I'll let you guys do some more research. But yeah, it's really neat. I know the Library of Congress has public domain stuff out there, and I know archive.org also has public domain stuff. There's some really weird movies and stuff. I know back in the day when cable, it sounds crazy to think, but back in the day when cable internet started getting popular, I remember I got it hooked up, and I was so excited just to like download movies and stuff like that. And so the public domain stuff was the first place, because there's a lot of old, really cool vintage horror movies, like just weird zombie movies, and especially the stuff from the early 1900s. They did some of the most wildest movies, like surreal stuff. You know, you think of the iconic one where the moon landing and the spaceship lands on the moon, kind of shoots into his eye, you know. But yeah, maybe we'll watch one of those other movies on another night when we're hanging out. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's weird because, you know, it takes a little bit of time to set these up. I'd like to just sit down and start doing it, and I think as I get more and more of these OBS templates set up, maybe I will be able to do this where it's a little bit more I guess earlier is the best way to put it. More early, because it is late. Wow, it's almost 2 o'clock, so depending on where you're at, I'm on the East Coast. Those of you that are hanging out, thanks for hanging out. I have a feeling, if Eric, you're still here, you're probably playing a Fortnite or something. Those of you that are logging in or watching the comments here, if you scroll up there, you see Eric Monroe. If you check out his channel, he's got some cool streaming stuff going on, and he's getting into it finally, where he's uploading a lot more. So that's something to look for if you're into that kind of stuff. And it's really cool just to hear. I think it's a fresh perspective. Veteran gamer, right? I think he's been playing games since they were invented, since the original video game, right? Is that right? I don't know. But anyways, the Great Train Robbery. There it was. We experienced it. And we have Tom Turpin, some classic piano. I guess I don't know a lot about him, but I know looking up some of the music from that era, he's very well known, and he's considered one of the greatest. And this is just this music that's playing right now. This is very iconic. But Enrico, thanks again for the information. Wegs, Mothman, guys, thanks for hanging out. If you're still here, if you're watching the playback to see if I shouted you out, hey man, I appreciate you guys hanging out in the live stream, watching a little silent movie as I chit chat and talk throughout it, not knowing what's going on half the time. But that was really cool. All right, well, I'm gonna log on out, and I appreciate it, and I will see y'all later. Go make something, and be sure to check out those other streams before they disappear. You never know. All right, thanks again. I'm gonna end it with a countdown.